One of the most disgusting Republican members of the House right now is Steve King. I'm not going to go through his full repulsive credentials for you, but they include everything from coddling and excusing white nationalism, extreme religious hysteria. Even many Republican organizations have condemned Steve King as the disgusting racist that he is. Steve King once spoke about being upset that white nationalist is now considered offensive. He once told Breitbart News that he doesn't want Muslims working in meatpacking plants because, quote, I don't want people doing my pork that won't eat it, let alone hope I go to hell for eating pork chops. He equated the torture and prisoner abuse of the Abu Ghraib prison to, quote, hazing. And he subscribes to this white genocide conspiracy theory known as the Great Replacement, which we've talked about a few times now, but I won't go into detail about now. So anyway, needless to say, this is a horrible, horrible person. He now is saying that we should credit rape and incest for the existence of humanity. That, in a sense, if it were not for rape and incest, because it apparently is very common in his mind, it would be destructive to humanity, and therefore maybe rape and incest aren't that bad, and thus there should be no such exceptions for rape and incest when you talk about abortion law. When I saw the headline, part of me didn't want to believe it, even if it was Steve King. Even for Steve King, it sounded a little bit too much. I don't want to speak for Steve King, so here he is yesterday in Urbandale, Iowa. This is out of his own mouth.
What if it was okay, and what if we went back through all the family trees and just pulled those people out that were products of rape and incest? Would there be any population of the world left if we did that? Considering all the wars and all the rape and pillage that's taken place and whatever happened in culture after society, I know I can't certify that they're not part of a product of that.
So I guess the argument is we should not have rape and incest exceptions for abortion bans, because if we did, humanity wouldn't exist, because rape and incest have been so prominent in the perpetuation of Homo sapiens around the world. Is Steve King feeling like with Donald Trump in the White House, he's no longer getting attention for saying really dumb things? Like, is he realizing that there's someone actually more repugnant and reprehensible who's getting a lot of attention for the things he says, and he wants some of that attention back to Trump? I read a funny comment, something like, Steve King is from Iowa. He mostly knows people who are the products of rape and incest, and that's why he thinks that without rape and incest, there'd be no humanity. I read that on the internet, but that would be a distasteful joke to make, so I'm not going to make it today. Steve King also suggested during the same speech in Urbandale, Iowa, that there's a plot to remove him from power. And I want to talk about that because the way Steve King presents it, there's some kind of conspiracy or subterfuge to remove him from his seat in the House of Representatives. I call it something else. I call it he has an opponent. And there is actually really good news. The opponent is our friend JD Scholten, who is running again against Steve King. You can support JD. You can maybe vote for JD if you live in Iowa's 4th District. So we met JD Scholten back in 2018. August of 2018, I went to Netroots Nation in New Orleans, Louisiana, interviewed a few different 2018 candidates. One of them was JD Scholten. JD Scholten is actually a political outsider with really good ideas. He's a progressive. He recognizes the horrible nature of Steve King. I tweeted with him a few weeks ago and said, hey, are you running again in 2020? Because it would really be great to remove Steve King. And he said at the time he wasn't sure. He has since announced that he is running again. So we're going to try to get JD Scholten on the show and talk to him. He lost by only 10,000 votes to Steve King in 2018. This is a significantly red-leaning district, Iowa's 4th District. And JD Scholten came within 10,000 votes, just 3 percentage points separating them. Steve King could lose to JD Scholten in 2020. I hope you'll check out JD Scholten's campaign, contribute if that's the way you want to activate, work to get out the vote. Vote in that election if you live in Iowa's 4th District, but we'll definitely be talking about that one more. As much as we would have loved to see Ted Cruz be removed by Beto O'Rourke in 2018, I would love to see JD Scholten remove disgusting bottom feeder Steve King in 2020. And we're going to do what we can to make that happen.